Joy doesn't retire at 60. If anything, that's when it begins to shine brighter. If you're over 60 and want to feel truly alive, not just going through the motions, but waking up each day with purpose, peace, and radiant joy, this is for you. The best habit of all comes at the end, so stay with me, because that one alone can transform everything. But let's not waste time. Let's go right into what joyful, vibrant women do every single day to stay grounded, glowing, and fulfilled. And if you're ready to live your days with more energy and intention, tap that like button, drop a comment with your favorite daily ritual, and subscribe for more uplifting insights just like this. Every joyful woman I know over 60 has one thing in common. They don't wait for happiness to show up. They create it, deliberately, day by day. And the very first thing they do? They start with gratitude. Not just a passing thought, but a ritual. Before the feet hit the floor, there's a moment, eyes still blinking open, where she names 3 things she's grateful for. And no, they don't have to be big. My knees don't hurt this morning. Or, the sun is coming through the curtains. These aren't cliches. They're gentle reminders that life is still rich, still kind, still full of small wonders. That mindset sets the tone for everything that follows, because when you choose to see what's working, you open yourself up to even more of it. Joyful women don't ignore the hard stuff. They just don't let it blind them to the good. Then comes the morning ritual. Not one that's rushed or done out of obligation, but something personal and soothing. Maybe it's sitting by the window with a warm cup of tea and watching the birds flutter about. Maybe it's 10 minutes of light stretching, a devotional reading, or just quiet reflection before the world wakes up. That moment isn't about productivity, it's about anchoring. It says, "This time is mine." In a world that's always asking for more, these women carve out a few minutes to center themselves before they respond to anything or anyone. And that intentionality, that ownership of time, builds a sense of calm strength that carries into everything else. They also make it a point to step outside. Fresh air isn't optional, it's fuel. Whether it's tending a garden, walking around the block, or simply sitting on the porch with their thoughts, happy women know nature heals. It grounds. The sound of wind rustling the leaves, the feel of sunlight on the skin, these are sensory gifts we often overlook. But the women who embrace joy let those moments wash over them. Studies show just 20 minutes outside can lower stress and boost mental clarity. But you don't need science to tell you how good it feels. Just open the door. The world is still full of beauty, and you're part of it. Movement is another quiet habit. You won't find these women chasing fitness trends or wearing themselves out. What you will find is consistency. Gentle stretches, walking, slow dancing in the kitchen, maybe a water aerobics class or a bit of Tai Chi. The key is they move every single day, not to change their bodies, but to celebrate what their bodies can still do. The aches might be there, sure, but movement keeps the energy flowing, keeps the joints loose, and more importantly, it reminds them that life is still in motion, and so are they. There's power in that. Not power for show, but quiet power, the kind that carries groceries, climbs stairs, and still swings grandkids in the backyard. But what truly sustains joy? Connection. The women who radiate happiness over 60 are never isolated. They talk to someone every day, whether it's a neighbor, a friend on the phone, or even just the grocery clerk. These moments don't have to be long or deep. Sometimes just a smile and a kind word are enough to feel seen and to see someone else. But they go further too. They check on their people. They send notes. They make soup for a friend. They say yes to that book club or church group or garden circle, not because they have to, but because joy shared is joy multiplied. And when loneliness creeps in, as it sometimes does, they know how to push back by reaching out. That habit alone can be the difference between a good day and a hard one. And speaking of good days, the most fulfilled women never stop learning. Every day is an opportunity to explore. Maybe it's a documentary while folding laundry. Maybe it's learning how to use a new app. Maybe it's finally starting that watercolor class or trying out a new soup recipe. They aren't afraid to be beginners. In fact, they laugh at their mistakes. They enjoy the process. Because staying curious keeps the brain agile, the heart open, and life exciting. It's not about chasing achievements anymore. It's about staying connected to wonder. There's magic in learning something just for the joy of it, even if no one else ever sees it. These women also treat their bodies like they matter, because they do. Nourishment isn't about dieting. It's about honoring what fuels them. They eat meals that are colorful and vibrant, meals that taste good and make them feel even better. Fresh fruits, leafy greens, hearty soups, herbal teas, they savor it all. And they also make room for chocolate, for that homemade pie, for the joy of cooking something rich and nostalgic. They don't punish themselves. They feed themselves with care. It's a love story between them and their body, one that's taken years to write and now reads like a well-worn favorite book. But beyond food and movement and morning tea, there's something else joyful. Women over 60 make space for every single day. Small acts of kindness. Not grand gestures, not big shows, but quiet, meaningful moments of love extended outward. A handwritten thank you note for a neighbor. A warm batch of cookies delivered with no occasion. A compliment given to a stranger whose eyes seemed tired. These women don't wait for the world to be kind to them. They go first. And in doing so, they create a ripple of warmth that comes back around in ways they don't even expect. Because kindness has a boomerang effect. It's not just about doing good, it's about feeling good. And the joy that bubbles up from showing up for others, that's the kind of joy that lasts. Equally important is the habit of reflection. Happy women know that in the quiet, wisdom whispers. They don't just move through their days, they pause at the end of them. A few minutes to sit, to think, to ask, what brought me joy today? What challenged me? What did I learn? This isn't about judging the day, it's about honoring it. Some keep a small journal. Others just sit in the stillness and let their thoughts come and go. But they always look inward before closing their eyes. It's a gentle habit, but a powerful one, because reflection turns time into insight. And insight over time builds a life full of meaning. And then, there's beauty. Not the beauty in magazines or filters, but real, soul-nourishing beauty. Joyful women surround themselves with it. A vase of fresh flowers on the table, soft light coming through clean windows, a photo of their children smiling back at them from the mantel, a cozy throw blanket, a favorite song playing while they cook. They don't accumulate things for the sake of it. They curate their space to lift their spirits. Their homes become sanctuaries, not because they're expensive or perfectly decorated, but because they reflect love. These small touches matter. They remind them that life is not just to be lived. It's to be felt deeply, moment by moment. And when they look at their lives, truly look, they don't dwell on the unfinished goals or compare themselves to others. No, what they do is celebrate what they've done, all of it. They honor their own journey, the good, the hard, the brave, the messy. They look back at old photos and don't see regret. They see stories, lessons, triumphs. They see the strength it took to raise a family, to overcome hardship, to build something lasting. Joyful women don't hide from their past. They embrace it. And when they do that, they give themselves permission to walk into their future with grace because they know their value is not behind them. It's still unfolding. But perhaps the simplest and most powerful habit of all is this. They laugh. Every single day they laugh. At the news, at the mess, at themselves. They make time for joy on purpose. They watch a funny movie. They call the one friend who always makes them giggle. They tell stories that end in belly laughs. They play board games with the grandkids and let themselves be silly. They don't chase youth, but their spirit stays young because they know laughter is life's great equalizer. It lightens burdens. It brings people together. It heals what words cannot. And joyful women never forget that joy isn't a destination. It's a daily choice. It's easy to think that fulfillment comes from big milestones. But the women who wake up glowing at 60, 70, even 80, they know it comes from the little things. The way the light hits the floor in the morning, the way their cat curls beside them, the satisfaction of folding fresh laundry, the beauty of making a meal from scratch, the phone call from a friend who just wanted to say hi. These are not just moments. They are the fabric of a life well lived. And these women, they don't just exist in that life. They savor it. They also forgive. Not just others, but themselves. They no longer carry old grudges or the heavy weight of perfection. They let things go. They understand that peace isn't the absence of conflict. It's the release of things that no longer serve them. And in that release, they find freedom. They stop apologizing for aging, for resting, for choosing joy over obligation. They speak kindly to themselves. They look in the mirror and say, "You've come so far," and they mean it. Another thing, they protect their peace. Not everyone gets access to their energy anymore, and that's a conscious choice. They set boundaries. They say no when they need to. They no longer feel guilty for choosing themselves. And that isn't selfish. That's wisdom. Because they've learned the hard way that burnout serves no one. And joy, real joy, blooms best in well-tended soil. That means rest. That means quiet. That means doing nothing sometimes and being okay with it. They also keep something sacred, a space, a ritual, a practice, something that connects them to something bigger than themselves. It might be prayer. It might be meditation. It might be watching the sunrise and whispering a thank you into the morning. Whatever it is, they protect it fiercely, because that habit, more than any of the others, grounds them. It reminds them that no matter what's going on in the world, their inner world can remain steady. That's the foundation upon which all their joy is built. A quiet, unshakable knowing that they are enough, right here, right now. And the best part? They don't hoard these habits. They share them. Through stories, through hugs, through showing up for the people they love. They become living examples of what it means to age not just gracefully, but gratefully. They're not trying to stay young. They're trying to stay true. True to themselves. True to what matters. And every day, in these small, consistent ways, they choose a life that reflects that truth. And with all these beautiful daily rhythms, gratitude, connection, laughter, reflection, there's still one more habit joyful women hold close, and this is the one that ties everything together. They wake up every day with a sense of intention. They don't let the day simply happen to them. They shape it gently, like kneading dough. Whether they have a packed calendar or a peaceful, open schedule, they approach it with purpose. Sometimes that means finishing a long-forgotten project. Sometimes it's calling that friend they've been meaning to check on. Other times, it's just deciding, today I will rest. And that is enough. This daily habit of intention keeps them from drifting, from falling into the trap of just getting through. Instead, they create. They participate. They steer. Intention is what separates a busy life from a meaningful one. It's what turns the everyday into the extraordinary. That morning walk becomes a time to marvel at blooming flowers. That cup of tea becomes a small ceremony of self-care. That trip to the grocery store becomes a chance to smile at someone who might really need it. These aren't habits for the sake of habit. They're acts of reclaiming joy, bit by bit. And the more they do it, the more joy finds them in return. Joyful women also remain deeply flexible. Life in your 60s and beyond isn't without change. Some of it welcome, some of it painful. But the happiest women don't resist the waves. They ride them. Plans fall through. Bodies change. People leave. But these women adapt, adjust, find softness where others find only struggle. They are resilient, yes, but not rigid. They bend without breaking. They've learned that letting go often brings more peace than holding on ever could. And so they choose to dance in the rain, to laugh at the unexpected, to trust that even in uncertainty, there is still beauty to be found. And here's something truly special. They don't wait to feel radiant. They decide they already are. They dress in what makes them feel alive. Bold colors, flowing fabrics, lipstick if they feel like it, silver hair shining in the light. They aren't trying to impress anyone. They're honoring themselves. Every mirror becomes a reflection of their story, not a flaw map. Every wrinkle is a sentence in the poem of their life. They walk tall not because everything is perfect, but because they've made peace with the imperfections. These women also laugh at rules that were never made for them. They eat dessert first if they want. They go barefoot in the garden. They read romance novels at midnight. They skip appointments to spend the day with a friend. They know joy is rarely found in routine obligation, but almost always found in unexpected delight. And so they leave room for whimsy, for surprise, for the unplanned moments that make their days shimmer. They don't need permission to be happy. They've granted that to themselves. But the biggest secret? They keep choosing joy even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. They don't deny pain or pretend sadness doesn't exist. They feel it all, but they don't stay stuck in it. They move through it with grace and then reach for the light again. That is not weakness. That is strength in its purest form. The choice to keep living fully, even with a tender heart, even after loss, even when it's easier to close off. Joyful women don't just feel joy. They fight for it, gently and persistently, every day. So if you're watching this wondering where to start, don't feel like you need to change everything. You don't. Just choose one thing, one habit, one shift in how you move through your day. Maybe tomorrow morning, before you get out of bed, you whisper 3 things you're grateful for. Maybe you put on that dress you've been saving for a special day and realize today is special enough. Maybe you call someone you've been thinking about. Maybe you sit quietly with yourself and say, I'm proud of who I've become. Because here's the truth. Joy isn't a luxury for the young. It's not reserved for the lucky or the perfect. It's for you, right now, in this season, with everything you've been through and everything still ahead of you. You deserve to feel light again. You deserve to feel full. You deserve to feel radiant. So when you think of these 10 daily habits, don't just see them as a checklist. See them as a love letter to yourself. A new way of being, a quiet revolution in how you choose to live. Because joyful women over 60 don't have magic. They have habits. They've built a life that supports their joy, one tiny choice at a time. And if they can do it, so can you. And if this spoke to you, even just one line, do me a favor. Like this video, share it with someone you love, and leave a comment below telling us what joy looks like for you. And of course, subscribe for more inspiring, honest, feel-good content made just for women like you. Because your story isn't done yet. In fact, the most joyful chapters may be just beginning.